and Mahomes were never taken serious. Hurts won't be even if they're the 1 seed. Jonathan Taylor plays running back. Stop. Mahomes lost the head-to-head to Josh. Can I confidently eliminate every single person booked behind Josh Allen to at least beat out Josh Allen? So I'm in a head-to-head with Stafford May?
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
Another sport like the NBA, which is dealing with its own, scandals, so to speak, and its own headlines with the FBI and what else comes, because this is the same FBI team that also brought the NBA scandals to light. So I'd have to imagine they're working on some other stuff as well right now, and the timing is definitely not a coincidence, but definitely some very significant news in the gambling world that now you're not going to be able to bet more than $200 on a specific pitch market.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
Where are the wins coming from? And yes, I agree. Are they good enough to win those games? Yeah, of course they are, right? But the reality of this team is not very good this year in one-score games. They're not. That was their bread and butter a year ago. Like every win last year, one-score game, the Chiefs found a way to win it.
The Craig Carton Show. Only on SportsGrid.
You need Justin Jefferson on that wall in the playoffs. Like, you got to go get him. He is still the man. I understand the JJ week last. I get it. It was ugly. There were a lot of spots where, where's he throwing that ball to? What's he doing? It'll be fine. Justin Jefferson's far too talented, and McCarthy will continue to figure it out. But it's the target volume you want. He gets double-digit targets every week. He is arguably the best wide receiver in the NFL.
Fantasy Sports Today. Only on SportsGrid.
Yes, it's time to rise and grind. It's hump day, people. You can see the weekend from here if you get those binoculars out. But before we get there, we got a lot of information to go over, as we do every single weekday morning, 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. right here on the SportsGrid Network. This is the Early Line. I'm Donnie Wrightside, along with Joe Ranieri. We had a lot of action last night in hoops, some fabulous games, or what intended to be fabulous games at Madison Square Garden to tee up some top 25 basketball action. We also had our preview show yesterday and our thoughts on what the college football playoff is going to be and who is going to make it in. Some interesting movers and shakers, but also we got NFL games starting once again tomorrow night in week number 12. Sometimes we say, Joe, 2 hours just isn't enough, but it's our job to get you going for the rest of your SportsGrid day.
Yeah, middle of the week, Donnie, and a whole lot to be excited about here because now we've got a little clearer picture in college football. It was good to see some of the blue bloods in action in college basketball. A lot going on in the world of sports right now.
And LeBron James came back last night. Come on now. I lost my play of the day by a bucket last night. Come on, Utah Jazz. Enough with that. It's time on a Wednesday to get caffeinated, Joe. Where are we headed today?
Well, Donnie, I've always said, right, sports can teach us an awful lot about life. And, well, today we need to talk about the single most powerful force in the universe. And no, it's not money, Donnie. It's not fame. It's leverage. And right now, nobody on planet Earth has more of it than the current Ole Miss head coach, Lane Kiffin. This guy has single-handedly turned the college football world into his own personal reality show. And it is absolutely hilarious to watch unfold. We told you yesterday, the reports were out that the Ole Miss and their AD gave Lane an ultimatum about making a decision on whether or not he should be returning next season as their head coach. Well, then Lane yesterday morning went on the Pat McAfee show and flat out denied the rumors that Ole Miss gave him a quote-unquote deadline to decide his future. And of course he denied it, because why would he care about a deadline? He single-handedly holds every card in the deck. Think about it. He has Ole Miss sitting at 10-1 and on the doorstep of the college football playoff, having their best season in 60 years. He has LSU and Florida, two desperate blue bloods, presumably backing up the Brinks trucks with 8-figure offers to him. Oh, yeah, and by the way, he has what may be the single most powerful agent in all of sports in Jimmy Sexton, playing everybody against each other like a fiddle. What is the Ole Miss AD, Keith Carter, supposed to do? Fire him? Sorry, Lane, you didn't sign. You didn't sign and give us an answer by Tuesday, so you can't coach in the play. Yeah, right. That is not going to happen. It would be career suicide. Lane knows he can drag this out as long as he wants, and everyone just has to sit there and wait. That is the definition of leverage, folks. But here is where it gets truly absurd, Donnie, because it's not just the insiders and the media trying to figure out where he's going to go, what he's going to do. We have now entered the Zillow tracking season. Get this. Yesterday, it was known that the most expensive house in Gainesville, Florida, and there aren't a lot of them there, Donnie, I've been there, but suddenly it went under contract. And the address, well, what do you think the address is and the former owner? Oh, it happens to be former Florida head coach Dan Mullen's former house. Now, it's not likely that Lane Kiffin's family flew to Gainesville, toured a house, and then bought Dan Mullen's old mansion in 24 hours without anybody knowing it. But the fact that millions of people are looking on Zillow listings to figure out whether or not he bought a house is hilarious. The entire sport is paralyzed, waiting for this man to make a decision. He's got 3 fan bases tracking his every move. He's got an athletic director sweating through his suit because, well, he also has a golden ticket to the playoffs in his back pocket. So take a lesson from Lane, folks. In your career, don't just chase the money. Chase the leverage, because when you have it, well, you don't have deadlines, Donnie. You have options. And right now, Lane Kiffin is literally the king of the sports world.
And he is, too. You're right about it. You have 2 blue bloods, as you said, fighting for him, which they're going to get into a bidding war. And then Jimmy Sexton picks up the phone and goes, okay, I got $100 million guaranteed, Ole Miss. You want him? You got him. Just sign it right there at $100 million. So you are playing 3 different ways of this triangle. And Kiffin looks like he's eating it up. I did watch that interview yesterday on Pat McAfee. Looks like he don't have a care in the world. And why would you, knowing that you're basically going to double your salary no matter where you go over the next couple weeks? We'll watch that one always, all the latest right here on the SportsGrid Network when Lane actually signs on the dotted line. Let's get to the early lineup right now. The biggest news stories across the sports landscape, which includes C.J. Stroud. Quick work week on a Thursday. That means he's not going to be out of concussion protocol. Davis Mills, once again, will be your starter Thursday night versus the Bills.
Yeah, and, we thought this line would move if Stroud was available, but he is not, Donnie. So this makes it a little bit more difficult here to lay it with Buffalo on the road on a short week. But I'm pretty sure that's the only direction the money will go from here with this news.
Tough quarterback, no doubt about it. It's Aaron Rodgers, but the guy can't move, and now he has a broken left wrist. Not his throwing wrist, but if you can't protect yourself in the pocket when you're going to get hit and sacked, I don't know how you play. But Mike Tomlin's saying, hey, we'll see on Friday if he can give it a go. Wow, that would be impressive if Aaron Rodgers breaks his wrist and plays the following week.
Listen, this is what you brought back Mason Rudolph for, right? You need to, there's no reason to hide the fact that you may, give him another week and see how it goes. I mean, Mason Rudolph is more than competent enough to be able to handle business and hold the fort down. Otherwise, I don't know what he's doing there. So I don't know why they're playing cat and mouse with this, but I doubt very much we're going to see a 41-year-old Aaron Rodgers with a broken wrist under center this Sunday.
How about a 40-plus-year-old NBA player playing close to 25 seasons in the NBA? That's LeBron James in a double-double, returned back to the court last night in a Lakers victory. How about LeBron James? 23 seasons.
Yeah, 23. I mean, I'm pretty sure Keontae George on Utah was born, I think, maybe 2 months after LeBron actually started playing in the NBA. So he has been around. He playing with guys that were either weren't born or were just born when he broke into the league.
How about a little bit of the college football playoff, Joe, where, again, word coming out, they're looking for expansion, which I 100% agree with. But Texas right now firmly out of the playoff picture until they upset Texas A&M and put themselves back in the picture and say, we're in the SEC. Look at our schedule. We got 3 losses. We should be in, people.
We knew for Texas, it was always going to be about Texas A&M and what they, if they could win that game. That is their season, their national championship game coming up. So, but they could be the only, I think, 3-loss team that would be looking to make the college football playoff.
Lane Kiffin, there he is in that triangle of money. Will he be able to survive? Will that be a distraction? And also, it would be amazing if they make the college football playoff and he bounces to Florida to get a absolute, head start on recruiting. Come on now.
I mean, Donnie, it's must-watch television. And you're right. He's eating it up every minute, as he should, folks. That is what leverage looks like here. Wish we all had it, Donnie.
I'll tell you who doesn't have leverage right now. It's Patrick Beverly looking at some jail time due to some domestic violence, Joe.
What happened to Patrick Beverly? My goodness. I mean, one of the most ferocious defenders in the NBA and just going hard left here. Unfortunate situation.
Yeah, ferocious in the wrong way is getting domestic there. We'll see how that one plays out with the allegations. How about Spain in the World Cup after a dramatic last play there? España headed to the World Cup.
Well, that's listen, and just like that shaking you heard was the entire Spain team's fan base around the world celebrating that. Yes, they're heading to the U.S. for the World Cup.
Don't show up, Spain. Don't show up, France. Don't show up anybody, because Team USA is going to lift that cup at the World Cup. I can smell it next summer. Do it right there at MetLife Stadium. How about that? Well, today's a Wednesday. It is a hump day. We are underway. Spreadlines on deck next. We'll be right back.
You need Justin Jefferson on that wall in the playoffs. Like, you got to go get him. He is still the man. I understand the JJ week last. I get it. It was ugly. There were a lot of spots where, where's he throwing that ball to? What's he doing? It'll be fine. Justin Jefferson's far too talented, and McCarthy will continue to figure it out. But it's the target volume you want. He gets double-digit targets every week. He is arguably the best wide receiver in the NFL.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
Oh boy, oh boy. This is not going to go away, folks. This betting scandal that involved Terry Rozier, that involved Jonte Porter last year, and then obviously with Chauncey Billups getting involved and stuff like that, this is not going away. This is not good. And this is not the end of this scandal.
Pro Basketball Today, only on SportsGrid.
Players behind the scenes have complained about Hurts's unwillingness to throw through tight windows against zone coverage. I told you Friday, Kevin, that Jalen Hurts takes the path of least resistance. He holds on to the ball. He doesn't like making those tighter throws. Though he loves making deeper throws, which it's interesting. Over 20 yards, he's one of the best in the National Football League.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
Football contest season is back, and so is the Las Vegas Football Contest Show. Season 2, the sharpest football contest show in the land. Focusing on all 3 Circus Sports contests and the Westgate Superbook Super Contest, we handicap the games and release our contest picks every week of the season. Featuring Super Contest champions Brady Cannon, James Salinas, and former NFL player Mike Pritchard, all team will have you prepared this season like none other. Check us out every weekend right here on SportsGrid.
Open up that digital newspaper. It's called the Early Line. It's called the SportsGrid Network. We do it each and every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday to get you ready for your SportsGrid day so you can be more knowledgeable around the cooler here. Now, Spreadlines, the headlines and the spreads that you need to know for some games that might take place tonight, tomorrow, and or the weekend. Let's get to college football and little Maction here, but not Maction from midweek, Maction from Saturday, a 2 p.m. start. It's Ball State and it's Toledo. We saw the look-ahead line in the low 20s, now as high as 27.5 across the board, the total of 47.5. Toledo, a 4-touchdown favorite over Ball State, Joe. What's the spread line here?
Well, the thing that makes this so funny, Donnie, because we have told you now over the last couple of weeks in Spreadlines about Jason Candle, the head coach of Toledo, and his inability to burn his ability to burn money as more than a touchdown favorite since he's been the head coach there. It has been absolutely horrific. The one bugaboo about him and Toledo is that anytime they are a big favorite, half the time they lose the game outright, Donnie. But that hasn't stopped the market, like you said. This thing opened up 22 and a half, and now it's 26 and a half. Now, granted, Ball State, not a great football team, Donnie, but you know what? We have been here, and we have done this before with Jason Candle and this Toledo team, and guess what? Not the first time he's been more than a 2-3 touchdown favorite, and half the time he loses those games outright. I can only take the points with the dog here. If you like trends, this is a trend you want to run away from and back the dog here.
How about a trend here for 4 o'clock on a Saturday afternoon? That's TCU traveling to Houston. This line opened up roughly a 3-point favorite for Houston. Now we're seeing it backtracking 1s and 1.5s in the marketplace, and a total, Joe, of 54.5. Houston and TCU this weekend. What's our spread line here?
Well, it's so interesting. I always find it fascinating, Donnie, when you have two known programs like this, TCU and Houston, and the books open it up right under a key number, right? We saw 2.5 hanging out here, and then you got to wonder and saying, all right, what are the books waiting for? Where are we going to get? Is it going to be 3? Is it going to go 3.5? Is it 6.5? Is it 7? Where is it going to go? Well, as it turns out here, Donnie, with this, the home team, Houston, hasn't gotten any love in this one, Donnie. It's all TCU money. Houston opened up as the 2.5-point favorite, and now we're looking at even pick 'em in some spots, Donnie. The total's getting a little bit of love as well. Two teams that, Willie Fritz there, his first year at Houston, has done a great job putting them in a position here, not only to make, a great bowl game and make a lot of money for Houston, but my goodness, at home, not getting any love here. I find that fascinating. I am on Houston in this game. I hope, Donnie, it goes the other way even more before kickoff.
A lot of respect for the New England Patriots out there in the marketplace right now, looking to possibly win an AFC East crown over the heavily favored to start the year Buffalo Bills. The New England Patriots are on the road this weekend to take on the Cincinnati Bengals. They are favored now by 7.5 to 8.5, depending on where you're shopping at, in the total of 49.5. Jamar Chase was hoping to appeal and get back into this game. Appeal denied. Big time fine, 1-game suspension. What's our spread line for New England and Cincinnati?
By the way, thanks, Mr. Chase, for clarifying the fact that if you were going to spit on him, you would have spit in his face and not his jersey. So I'm glad that you rectified that for everybody there. Unbelievable. New England, by the way, look ahead line in this, Donnie, 5.5. They were a favorite. Now, of course, you got the suspension. Now we're looking at 8.5. New England is, they got extra rest for this one. They beat the Jets on last Thursday night, week 11. And meanwhile, the Bengals just got pummeled by the Steelers here. And it really wasn't even close. Pittsburgh scored 24 to 34 points in the second half. I would expect points coming from this one for New England. But I would not be shocked, Donnie. There's a reason why the over in Cincinnati at home this year, 5-0 to the over, 11-2 to the over the last couple of years. I can see this game getting a ton of points when it's all said and done.
By the way, also a little hint, taking a look at some of those weather conditions from Tuesday as we look ahead till Sunday. Last week, a lot of windy and cold conditions. That's not the case this week, Joe. We're talking about some of these games, most of them, I should say, at least 50 degrees or higher, very light winds and no precipitation. So if you like to back overs and prop bets, not a bad week where you say, oh, no, 30-mile-an-hour winds. That's not the case. That should be some good stuff. Next game in the NFL, we'll talk about those Pittsburgh Steelers waiting to see who their quarterback is going to be this weekend. Aaron Rodgers probably going to practice later in the week to see if he can handle the duties. If not, it's going to be Mr. Mason Rudolph. They're going to take on Chicago. How about Chicago? Opened up as a 1.5-point favorite, now as high as 3 at some outlets due to the news on Aaron Rodgers. 44.5 as the total here. Chicago as a favorite at home. What's your spread line here for this game, Joe?
Well, this is one of those classic spots, Donnie, where depending on which side you're leaning will depend on when you bet this. If you like Chicago, now is the time to do it. If you can get 2.5, get it. It did hit 3 in a couple of spots, Donnie, yesterday, and then that seems to be the line in the sand, and then it was brought back down to 2.5. But if Aaron Rodgers gets announced out at some point later on in this week, I would imagine it's going to be 3.5 by the time we get to kick. And if that is the case, then I would bet Chicago now. And if I like Pittsburgh with Mason Rudolph one way or the other, there's no reason for you to bet this game now. Hold off, wait. You'll probably end up getting that key number 3 before kick.
By the way, again, I actually think I like it more for the Bears if Aaron Rodgers does play in this game. If Aaron Rodgers doesn't play, I don't think you get a massive downgrade. At least you have Mason Rudolph, a little bit younger quarterback that can be maneuver in the pocket. But also, you're right, Joe. This guy, it's not a guy getting his first start like Shedeur Sanders this weekend. Like, this guy's been around the block and won some games before. We'll see how that one plays out. To the association tonight, Joe. Rockets, Cavaliers. Look ahead line, Cleveland -1. Today's line, Rockets -1.5. What's your spread line tonight in this game?
This could be a future championship matchup here, Donnie, and it was it was funny when it opened up. We saw the Cavs as a slight favorite last night.
Yeah.
Well, not anymore here tonight. It looks like it's been all Rockets money on the road against the Cavs, who have been playing fantastic as well. I tend to lean with the home team here.
NFL news and notes coming up next right here on the early line on the SportsGrid Network.
You need Justin Jefferson on that wall in the playoffs. Like, you got to go get him. He is still the man. I understand the JJ week last. I get it. It was ugly. There were a lot of spots where, where's he throwing that ball to? What's he doing? It'll be fine. Justin Jefferson's far too talented, and McCarthy will continue to figure it out. But it's the target volume you want. He gets double-digit targets every week. He is arguably the best wide receiver in the NFL.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
Oh boy, oh boy. This is not going to go away, folks. This betting scandal that involved Terry Rozier, that involved Jonte Porter last year, and then obviously with Chauncey Billups getting involved and stuff like that, this is not going away. This is not good. And this is not the end of this scandal.
Pro Basketball Today, only on SportsGrid.
Players behind the scenes will complain about Hurts's unwillingness to throw through tight windows against zone coverage. I told you Friday, Kevin, that Jalen Hurts takes the path of least resistance. He holds on to the ball. He doesn't like making those tighter throws. Though he loves making deeper throws, which it's interesting. Over 20 yards, he's one of the best in the National Football League.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
Football contest season is back, and so is the Las Vegas Football Contest Show. Season 2, the sharpest football contest show in the land. Focusing on all 3 Circa Sports contests and the Westgate Superbook Super Contest, we handicap the games and release our contest picks every week of the season. Featuring Super Contest champions Brady Cannon, James Salinas, and former NFL player Mike Pritchard, all team will have you prepared this season like none other. Check us out every weekend right here on SportsGrid.
We are talking about NFL news and notes at this point in the show, and it's like, okay, well, let's get to it here. Bill Belichick, we'll start there. Wait a second, Donnie. He's not in the NFL. Doesn't matter. He used to be in the NFL. He gets tied into this. So, Joe Ranieri, if you would think that your football team is struggling, maybe you don't make a lot of public appearances. You just want the appearance that you're grinding. You're going to come back next year with a better football team, recruit, spend some of that NIL money, and really improve. But if you're not going bowling this year, you might as well have some fun as well. Bill Belichick seen with his girlfriend at a cheerleading competition. And you might say, like, all right, well, maybe they're supporting one of their friends and, they just wanted to be out for a night on the town, maybe have some dinner and stop by to show their support. Well, the support here for this is Bill Belichick is there because his girlfriend is in the cheerleading competition. Look at Bill Belichick out here strutting in the streets at his girlfriend's cheerleading competition. Sounds pretty good, doesn't it?
It's just good to see, Donnie. It really is. It's good to see that even sugar daddies get roped into having to go to events that they want they'd rather die than be at, Donnie, because every one of us has been exactly in that spot that Bill Belichick is going, why am I here? An adult co-ed league. Bill, somebody please step in with an intervention here and help poor Bill Belichick, please.
It's good times. These are the stories we need to keep the people updated on. Absolutely. Not the stories like Aaron Rodgers fracturing his wrist just before the half in a victory over the Cincinnati Bengals, only to find out he's going to try to give it a go in practice later this week to see if he can actually manage that Steelers offense. We just talked about this game. I think he should sit this one out at least a week or two to get the feeling back, the mobility back, because we know an old man in the pocket, he's going to get hit. What happens when you get hit? You must brace yourself when you go to the ground. He won't be able to do that. How can he play this weekend?
I doubt very much that he can. And again, Tomlin playing coy, I get it, right? I mean, who do you prepare for? Rodgers or Rudolph? Not the same type of quarterback here. But, even he said it yesterday. There's a reason why you kept Mason Rudolph here on the roster. He's been there. He's done this before. It's not a rookie. You know what you're going to get from him. He knows the team. He knows the Bears. Like, this is... it's okay. It's not Aaron Rodgers, but you know what? It's a still very winnable game for the Pittsburgh Steelers with Mason Rudolph under center.
By the way, I do tell you a big injury there certainly is Aaron Rodgers. We'll keep an eye on that. But Jaylen Warren is the guy that should be able to absolutely dominate this week against the Cincinnati Bengals, against the Bears. But you say to yourself, well, he's banged up and he can't go. Now we're down our starting, running back and our starting quarterback. Where do we go from here? But that's one of the situations to monitor specifically if you're looking at prop bets or your fantasy team.
Yeah, it's a great point, Donnie. Yes, styles make fights here, right? Yeah. And Pittsburgh knows what time it is. They have still a one-game lead over Baltimore. I tend to think regression is coming for this Chicago team. But the defense, Donnie, has got to step up. You got a backup quarterback in there. That Pittsburgh defense has got to show up and show out. And they might just be playing the best that they've played all season.
Joe, I was furious on Sunday. I had a moneyline parlay that could have got closed out with just a win for the Kansas City Chiefs. And on X, I was letting people know, I don't understand this. You can't just pass repeatedly against an unbelievable defensive pass rush. You have to slow it down by running the football. And then Monday we got on here, and I was even more angry the day after. But now it turns out Patrick Mahomes might be making some of those checks himself. Here's Big Red talking about it.
We're calling quite a few of the RPOs. So yesterday they were giving us opportunities to throw the football. So we utilized the opportunities there. And those things end up being as good as a run for you. We're getting 4+ yards and you go with it. And but the runs are being called. It's just, sometimes they get turned into passes in today's world. That's how it goes. So, but we're getting them in. Now we have some hard runs where you just get up, line up and go. Probably could call more of those.
Ooh, this is good. This is good because the one thing you know about Andy Reid, this has been dating back to his Eagles tenure back into the late 1990s. He would usually just say, it's my job to get them in a better position. I'll make sure I do a better job of that. He's actively calling out Patrick Mahomes, which I like because sometimes that signals to the rest of the team. The Teflon Don at quarterback, even though he's one of the greatest of all time, yes, he's not making the right moves at some times right here. This will be interesting to see how it filters into this next huge game. Do they run the football more? They absolutely need to, Joe. They do.
Well, and they need to get healthier at running backs. Then they need Pacheco back. Can't just be Kareem Hunt. They need more.
Let's talk health again on another player next. It's almost like betting the stock market. The good part about it is you can take a bet today. In 2 or 3 days, if you nail that bet, you can be able to cash out, Joe. Like you just hit a heady stock. Like you go into Sun Microsystems or whatever it's called, and you buy into it. In 3 days, you can sell it for a massive profit. Do you understand these markets, Joe?
I do understand the markets. It's amazing how some of the predictive markets seem to have the answers before the test.
SportsGrid's College Football Today.
8 3-minute rounds. The gloves are 10 ounces. And Anthony Joshua weighs like 250 pounds. So I'm not really sure how this is going to end up happening. But this is one of those. Normally, I don't give credit to the Paul brothers. And, I give them credit for being great on social media and creating a lot of buzz for the sport. I give him credit for getting in the round with Anthony Joshua. This is not like a Mike Tyson fight where Tyson's 60 years old.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Travion Henderson and a few others have the Pats at 9-2. Is excellence back in New England, Joe?
Excellence is back in a big way. Mike Vrabel came back into town. Drake May has come out of his shell, and Travion Henderson has come out of, I don't know where he was. He was in obscurity, but he had 3 touchdowns on Thursday night.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
Let's take a look at a couple of narratives here and play a good game of fade or not fade. And first up, well, the idea that the Chiefs are going to put it all together and win the AFC West, well, that's absolutely gone. Absolute fade from this point on, Donnie, with the Chiefs. Their 10-year reign is over. It's done with.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Anybody watch the WWE this week for Raw? Why would you do that? John Cena's last appearance on Raw until, 2 months later when he decides to make another comeback tour at this point, because in the WWE, they like 60-year-old wrestlers more than maybe pushing a 25-year-old. That's beyond the point. But you had some superstar athletes in the building that night, which included the Philadelphia Eagles and Cooper DeJean and Big Dom. But also, you had Cam Scatterbo in the arena, I guess with, boot on his foot and protecting his leg. And some people are upset with that for the Giants, saying, you injure yourself again, this could have a setback. Do you have any issues with Cam Scatterbo at Monday Night Raw making an appearance, Joe?
Was he there with Kevin Walsh? Like what? I don't, what exactly was, I'm just saying, I know Kevin might have been in attendance there. I'm just kind of curious, though. Was he in the ring? Was he actually part? No. So people have a problem with him sitting in the audience watching a wrestling. Yeah, people need to get a grip, okay? He's not a week away from coming back, and you're battling for a playoff position. Like, settle down, everyone. Let the kid enjoy his life. He's not hurting anybody, and he's not really in risk in the watching it as a, in attendance as opposed to participating in it, Donnie. People need to settle down here. Let him be who he is.
And you're right about this. He's not a 55-year-old guy or 60-year-old guy or 70-year-old guy going to a cheerleading competition where you can analyze and say, what's he doing? He's in his early 20s. Madison Square Garden for a monster event that, WWE was like, hey, man, you want to come out? We got free tickets. You can watch the show. Cena's here. The crowd would love to have you there. And he also said on his Twitter, leave me alone. Like, if you think this is a problem, like, I'm down in the dumps. If anybody's ever had an injury where you're away from your team and you can't compete with something you love, you have to find that other activity that sort of gives you some joy, whether it's streaming or playing Madden online or talking to your friends or going out to the local pub to have a beer and have a couple wings while you watch a game. Dudes out there at WWE probably loves wrestling. And people are like, hey, man, you shouldn't be out and about. You should be in your apartment /condo /your house until training camp. You can't get injured here.
I got it. Listen, Belichick had a better chance of being injured at the co-ed, adult cheerleading competition than Scatterbo would have sitting, ringside there with security all over the place and getting hurt. Like, stop it. Like, people need to settle down. Yes, he is the future of the Giants along with Jackson Dart, but he can, at 22 years old, he's allowed to go and enjoy a wrestling match there. What do you want, a bubble wrap? That kid of all people, you want a bubble wrap? Like, good luck with that. Let me know how that works out.
Yeah. Exactly. How about this? How about this working out on Thursday Night Football? The Buffalo Bills traveling to take on the Houston Texans. This line opened up at 2.5 as the look-ahead line, Joe. Now 5.5s and 6s starting the show in the marketplace. Why? Davis Mills is going to be the quarterback once again for another start because C.J. Stroud, not under the weather, but does have a concussion and probably will be back the following week. 43.5 is the total here. By the way, Davis Mills, not too bad in his repeat starts there while C.J. Stroud has been out, picking up a couple victories. I don't know if they can pull out this victory, but the one thing I do know is Houston has a really good defense. Josh Allen going to have to get on his game to push that football up and down the field. Why do I say that? Last time they had a road game, Joe, it was against the Dolphins. Tell me how that one worked out.
Yeah. Well, it's, and this is the up and down nature of what the Buffalo Bills have been in the Josh Allen era, where they look like world beaters a couple of weeks. Then all of a sudden they go on this stretch where it's like, are you kidding me? This team is awful. And now they bounced back last week with a great performance at home against Tampa. Short week against a inferior offense. Even the Buffalo Bills defense should have some success against Davis Mills. I don't know that they're not going to drop 40, Donnie, like they did against Tampa, but they should be able to score enough and limit Davis Mills and that offense to get the win here.
Yeah, we saw a shootout last week and some high wind conditions in Buffalo. Now we're going to be on a dome, but it is a short work week here where the Bills got to travel from that Sunday game to a Thursday game down in Houston. Houston has a very, very good defense. The one thing that could be interesting to me is your ultimate outlet there for Josh Allen is Dalton Kincaid, but he's down for a couple weeks on IR. Somebody else has to step up because it's not a great wide receiving core. Dawson Knox getting up there in age. It's sort of like you're leaning on that running game, and how much success can you have? It feels like to me, if you're correlating this game and Buffalo is going to cover that 6-point spread, it's because Josh Allen has another big game. Now, we're not talking about Josh Allen, hey, you need 3 touchdown passes and 3 rushing touchdowns for 6 combined, but he is going to have to control this tempo here up against that really strong Texans defense.
Yeah, it's funny, too, because Josh Allen has gone against a top 5 defense 29 times, I think, in his career during the regular season. And, those defenses, Donnie, that allow 20 points or less, he's actually been great against them. 23-5-1 against the number in those games. And if that team is actually below 500, 17-4-1 against the number. The only team he hasn't had any success against, period, has been this Houston team. I mean, the Bills have dropped 5 straight games, including 3 in a row by Josh Allen. So for whatever reason, he has not had a lot of success against this Houston Texans team in his career.
We look at the touchdown marketplace here for Thursday Night Football, and it doesn't surprise you. Who would be the leader in the club pass? It's actually Josh Allen. He got in 3 times last week, followed by James Cook at a -120 price. Then everybody else is plus money, starting with Woody Mark, starting tailback there for the Houston Texans. Nico Collins, Khalil Shakir, Dalton Schultz, and so far and so forth down the list we go. Any looks here for you, Joe, when you take a look at that touchdown market? Who do you think finds some pay dirt on Thursday night?
Kind of hard not to go like Josh Allen, right? I mean, it's so funny, not because it's a tale of two teams, right? The Texans have had goal line issues all year long. So to look at anybody on their side to think you're going to get a rushing touchdown, they have, I think, 1 rushing touchdown inside the 5-yard line. That's tied for the worst with the Saints, Donnie. So it's hard for me to look in the TD market with Houston, but I do think you have some options here. Tight ends with Josh Allen, Cook. They have some options here in order to be able, once they get into that red zone. I think rushing is the best way for them to be able to get it.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll find out Thursday night with that low total there. Bills favored by roughly a touchdown. But if we do swing things over to the standings here for this season in the AFC East, the New England Patriots, 9-2 overall. The Buffalo Bills at 7-3. Still doable for the Bills to come back, but they have to win this football game. And also, a couple weeks are going to face off going up against the New England Patriots Buffalo Bills game. That's going to go a long way. The Patriots, a -250 price in the Bills, plus 195. If we do look, 8 games in a row, the New England Patriots have won here, but there are some tough parts of the schedule coming up. You have the Jets coming up here for the New England Patriots. Or excuse me, you beat the Jets. You have the Bengals and the Giants. Those should be 2 victories. But then back-to-back, Joe, on the 14th of December, the Buffalo Bills, followed by the Baltimore Ravens here. Still some work to do, but they sit in a good spot here. Do you trust them as the favorite, and would you bet them, Joe, as the favorite to win it?
Yeah, listen, I don't think they're interested in anything else other than winning some games because they don't control their own destiny anymore, right? Even if they win out, they're going to need some help from New England if they're going to take down the AFC East again. But you also have to wonder at this point, do they really care about winning the AFC East? Is it more about just get in, you got to be in it to win it, and let's go here. Yeah. So I do trust them to win this game, but I do think it's going to be a very low-scoring game, and I think they will get the cover simply because where are the points coming from for the Houston Texans? I have no idea.
Some things, Joe, that still don't make sense when you try to correlate them. You say, okay, the New England Patriots, they're the heavy favorite to win this division, minus 250 to the Buffalo Bills, plus 195. And then they go, yeah, that's all nice. Well, who's actually going to win the AFC? Oh, look, the Buffalo Bills, the favorites to win the AFC at plus 390, and the Patriots at a 7-1 price. Sometimes you just don't see eye to eye on some of these odds, Joe.
Yeah, listen, but we've seen this before with Buffalo, and usually right around this time of year, Donnie, they go through this stretch of just like head scratching, and then they turn it around and turn it up another notch. And that's what the market thinks they're going to do.
Absolutely. It's about the playoffs, people. We'll see if Josh Allen can finally make it to a Super Bowl. We will find out, but more topics next include college football. What's going on? It's almost like betting the stock market. The good part about it is you can take a bet today. In 2 or 3 days, if you nail that bet, you can be able to cash out, Joe, like you just hit a heavy stock. Like you go into Sun Microsystems or whatever it's called, and you buy into it. In 3 days, you can sell it for a massive profit. Do you understand these markets, Joe?
I do understand the markets. It's amazing how some of the predictive markets seem to have the answers before the test.
SportsGrid's College Football Today.
8 3-minute rounds. The gloves are 10 ounces. And Anthony Joshua weighs like 250 pounds. So I'm not really sure how this is going to end up happening. But this is one of those. Normally, I don't give credit to the Paul brothers. And, I give them credit for being great on social media and creating a lot of buzz for the sport. I give him credit for getting in the round with Anthony Joshua. This is not like a Mike Tyson fight when Tyson's 60 years old.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
Travion Henderson and a few others have the Pats at 9-2. Is excellence back in New England, Joe?
Excellence is back in a big way. Mike Vrabel came back into town. Drake May has come out of his shell, and Travion Henderson has come out of, I don't know where he was. He was in obscurity, but he had 3 touchdowns on Thursday night.
Fantasy Sports Today. Only on SportsGrid.
Let's take a look at a couple of narratives here and play a good game of fade or not fade. And first up, well, the idea that the Chiefs are going to put it all together and win the AFC West, well, that's absolutely gone. Absolute fade from this point on, Donnie, with the Chiefs. Their 10-year reign is over. It's done with.
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
James Franklin, just a few weeks ago, he was the head coach of the Penn State Nittany Lions as they were looking to do some damage here in the 2025 season. I got maybe the best backfield combination in the country. I got Drew Aller coming back. We should be able to roll this year. They got rolled right out of the Big Ten, and so did Mr. James Franklin. But now he reemerges at Virginia Tech as the head coach, and here he is, meeting with his team, getting that first look.
But number one, obviously honored to be here. Me and my wife, Fumi, actually, we just text my brother-in-law who lives about 9 miles from here. So just blessed and honored to be a part of this. We've been doing this for 30 years, me and my family, and I know Virginia Tech well. I was at the University of Maryland for 8 years before I left and went to the Green Bay Packers. I was a young offensive coordinator, went to Virginia Tech. There was a defensive coordinator, I think you guys may know him, named Bud Foster. And that was a long night for the young offensive coordinator, to be honest with you. But just honored to be here. I want to thank the search committee. Those guys were relentless. Obviously, Jay and Ryan and the whole crew just did a phenomenal job. John, did you have something?
No, I was just once again wanting to thank you for becoming a Hokie. I believe Jay may have something for you so you'll be properly attired in the future.
Yeah. Jay sent me a bunch of stuff.
You can't have too much Hokie gear.
Yeah, last week.
There you go. He's in front of the boys, getting the team ready to go. What he should have said is, guys, I guarantee you one thing. I will make this schedule the softest in the entire nation like I tried to do at Penn State. We're going to win a lot of football games, just not a lot of meaningful football games. They're like, you know what, Coach? Sounds good.
Yeah, it's funny. I remember when James Franklin was there for a couple of years at Vandy, and everyone was like, oh, this he's winning 9 football games a season. He was like the fun coach. And then all of a sudden he goes to Penn State and he's winning 11 games a year, Donnie, and looks about as miserable as a human being could, with an aspiration, of course, of trying to win a national championship, which he was never going to do at Vandy. And guess what? He ain't going to do it here at Virginia Tech either. But you know what he'll be? He'll be a lot happier with 9 wins a season, 10 wins a season without the pressure that Penn State brought. So I think it's a great move for him. I think got to be careful, though. That third go-around, I saw Mark Richt come here to Miami. I saw Chip Kelly at UCLA. Gus Malzahn at UCF. Doesn't always work out, but I don't think the aspirations are there for Va Tech just yet. So I think he's going to have a lot of success.
Yeah, as I said, it's a really good hire for Virginia Tech. It's almost like the perfect mesh point. Like, Virginia Tech's not going to win a national championship. He's not going to have that pressure. He'll thrive. They'll win 9-10 games every single year. They'll get the bowl games, maybe the occasional ACC win, because it's not like you have to play Ohio State every year. You just get your brains beat in by them. I think it's a perfect match for those two, where at least getting Virginia Tech back to respectability, that should be good enough there for Virginia Tech. College football playoff rankings, the show came out yesterday. No surprises really in the top 5, Joe. Ohio State, Indiana, Texas A&M, Georgia, and Texas Tech there. Miami seems to be that lightning rod team placed at 13, with Notre Dame placed 9th, and the committee saying, well, yeah, we head-to-head, and we don't look at head-to-head, but head-to-head, and then there's 2 losses. Stop the madness right here. We're headed for a doomsday scenario where they can't explain themselves, Joe.
Well, you knew that was coming, and a lot of it is going to center around the debate with Miami and Notre Dame, who are sitting there with exactly the same record. Only one team had beaten that other team, and that was Miami, having beaten Notre Dame the first game of the year. So now the question is, I got 2 teams at 8-2 at this point, yet Notre Dame is ranked higher. I don't get it. So it's ultimately going to come down to which way the committee wants to go, and who's on that bubble, Donnie? Who's going to make the committee and the playoff more money? And that'll ultimately be who gets in.
By the way, sitting at number 6 in this playoff poll, that's Ole Miss. Man, what a season. Could be one of the best seasons, if not the best season in the history of Ole Miss football. And their head coach is like, look at those LSU facilities. Boy, they're really nice. Now look at those Florida facilities. Boy, they are really nice as well. Because the one thing you always notice in the SEC, it's all about 100,000-seat stadiums, massive boosters, huge NIL, and the facilities in the area that you can do damage while you're recruiting. I always look at Ole Miss's football field. It is nice, but it just doesn't feel SEC. And maybe Lane Kiffin's looking around like, boy, the damage I could do by going to Florida and LSU with all of that money and resources, yeah, you know what? I'm going to take a look around.
Yeah, of course he's going to take a look. Why wouldn't he take a look around, right? I mean, listen, Lane has been to a lot of of the big time programs, right? USC, Tennessee. He was there under Saban there at Alabama with the championship year. So he knows what it takes. Did he ever really think he'd have enough talent at Ole Miss? Donnie, competing in the SEC, enough resources to do what Saban did, what he watched Saban do. I think this was always the next logical step for him. And kudos to put himself into a position, Donnie, to have that kind of leverage and to be able to have his pick of some of the best programs in the country.
Exactly. And people are like, oh, he's got to make a decision. Yeah, he will. And it'll be financially a really sound decision because, he has no loyalty. What if another school's offering $30 million more guaranteed dollars? I mean, stop it. He's going to go, and so would you out there in the streets. Now, let me get to a quick game here, Joe, in the ACC this weekend. Saturday night, 7 p.m. Pittsburgh and Georgia Tech. 61.5 is the total, a favorite for Georgia Tech. This is massive here in the standings because Georgia Tech, you see there, at 9-1. Pittsburgh could throw a little bit more chaos into the ACC with a victory on the road against Georgia Tech.
Yeah, and Georgia Tech, of course, will have Georgia, too, as that final game coming up here. But, Mr. Pat Narduzzi, where it doesn't really matter if we get beat by 100 for Notre Dame, and, your team did not show up. I'm not quite sure you can flip that switch with this team here where it's okay to take a game off and get the snot beat out of you, but somehow you're going to what? You're going to waltz against Georgia Tech and win this game? I got question marks here, Donnie. I am not convinced that Narduzzi and Pittsburgh come away with the win.
They should have took the Norvell approach and just sat everybody for the Notre Dame game because it did not matter at all. What a key coaching move that would have been here. Let's get over to college basketball. We had some big games in the Garden last night. Let's take a look.
You need Justin Jefferson on that wall in the playoffs. Like, you got to go get him. He is still the man. I understand the JJ week last. I get it. It was ugly. There were a lot of spots where, where's he throwing that ball to? What's he doing? It'll be fine. Justin Jefferson's far too talented, and McCarthy will continue to figure it out. But it's the target volume you want. He gets double-digit targets every week. He is arguably the best wide receiver in the NFL.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
Oh boy, oh boy. This is not going to go away, folks. This betting scandal that involved Terry Rozier, that involved Jonte Porter last year, and then obviously with Chauncey Billups getting involved and stuff like that, this is not going away. This is not good. And this is not the end of this scandal.
Pro Basketball Today, only on SportsGrid.
Players behind the scenes will complain about Hurts's unwillingness to throw through tight windows against zone coverage. I told you Friday, Kevin, that Jalen Hurts takes the path of least resistance. He holds on to the ball. He doesn't like making those tighter throws. Though he loves making deeper throws, which it's interesting. Over 20 yards, he's one of the best in the National Football League.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
Football contest season is back, and so is the Las Vegas Football Contest Show. Season 2, the sharpest football contest show in the land. Focusing on all three Circus Sports contests and the Westgate Superbook Super Contest, we handicap the games and release our contest picks every week of the season. Featuring Super Contest champions Brady Cannon, James Salinas, and former NFL player Mike Pritchard, all team will have you prepared this season like none other. Check us out every weekend right here on SportsGrid.
Big-time basketball yesterday in the world's most famous arena. We had Kansas and Duke and Michigan State and Kentucky in a back-to-back here, and both of these games turned out to be technically not all that competitive. A little bit more competitive in that Duke-Kansas game, but let's start with Michigan State and Kentucky last night. Kentucky came in as the favorite. Michigan State couldn't shoot three-point shots. Michigan State had 44 points at the break against Kentucky and had a lead of 44-27. Second half tied, 39 apiece, which means that final score, Joe, 83-66, as Michigan State improves to 4-0. And Kentucky, 2 times they leveled up in competition, 2 times they took losses already this season.
You know, Donnie, it's funny. Michigan State, who couldn't hit water if they fell out of a boat from 3 for the first couple of games this season. Boy, they had no problem hitting threes in that game. But Mark Pope here and this Kentucky team, he's got a problem. And he's got a reported $20 million plus roster that they paid for here. They won the transfer portal, Donnie, but much like his predecessor there, Calipari, who thought, look, let me just get all the 5-star recruits in one place and we'll figure it out as the season goes on. One team there last night looked like they were a team and trusted one another and played with one another. The other one looked like 5 dudes who have always been the number one guy in their high school careers and had no clue as to how to play together. And that's exactly what it looked like. So Mark Pope, he's got a $20 million problem on his hands. If he doesn't correct it, boy, oh boy, it's going to get hot under the collar quickly with Kentucky.
Yeah, you get some time to gel because it is early for a lot of these kids playing together, but just watching some of the post-game highlights and some of the analysts talking about it, saying, it looks like a bunch of 5-guy athletes out there with nobody really running an offensive system and everybody chasing their own shots, is I believe the wording they were used. But they'll have some time to work it out. The talent is there in Kentucky, but 2 early losses here, plenty of time to get back underway. The Duke Blue Devils, number 5 in the country, now have their 5th win of the season, 78-66 over the Kansas Jayhawks. Cam Boozer, 18-10-5, lead the way for the Duke Blue Devils in their win at the State Farm Champions Classic.
Yeah, we told you yesterday on the show, expect a brawl here, and that's what you got. The under hits. Duke ends up covering as a 10.5-point favorite in that game, but it was much closer than the score indicates for a while here. Very gritty performance by a shorthanded Kansas team who did not have, again, the presumptive number 1 draft pick coming up next year, guys. Darren Peterson for a 3rd straight game. But the other kids stepped up here. Kansas, again, I think will be just fine. I think they learned a little something. If this kid has to be out any extended period of time, which I hope he doesn't, because you got to watch this kid play. It's a whole lot of fun. But if he is, at least Kansas has shown they've got enough talent and depth there that they're going to be able to compete against anybody here. So it should be fun.
Back over to the NBA, competing without your top talent here, that's usually an issue, and that's what we're going to find now for the Milwaukee Bucks. Up to 2 weeks out for Giannis Antetokounmpo on a groin injury. Never helps there, but big man's got to get healthy. Look what he's been averaging, 30 and 10. This guy, walking double-double monster machine out here, and we expect it every night. He won't be there for probably 2 weeks, though, Joe.
And that's the problem, though. The perimeter guys on Milwaukee have not been getting it done. It's been all Giannis all season so far here, Donnie. And if it wasn't for him, boy, oh boy, they'd have a few more losses, shall we say, because he has carried them in a lot of different ways. So guys are going to have to step up here and weather this storm in order to get him back. But I have my doubts here with Doc Rivers and company on whether they'll be able to do just that.
News story came out here. LeBron and Steph Curry not playing in the 2028 Olympics, which I do agree with. Like, the Olympics aren't this year in, 2026. Another 2 years down the road. How old is LeBron? How old is Steph? These guys have really passed the torch down to the younger generation where they've had their gold medals. They've shown up well for Team USA when they go to the international competitions. This isn't a slight. This isn't a jabber. I can't believe they never would do this right now. It's time to turn the page here and let some of the younger guys hold that mantle. Those guys were fantastic in their years with Team USA.
Yeah, listen, LeBron, if he's going to be anything, is going to be a coach or a liaison or something along those lines. And Steph is not going to be interested in that anymore. So, yeah, kudos to those guys for being like, all right, yeah, let's welcome in the next generation of USA basketball athletes, because there are plenty of good ones here, Donnie, that will represent.
No, it is. And again, it seems like, I can't believe this. Like, LeBron seems going to watch it from Cabo, as he should, man. Just relax. How old he's going to be in 2 more years at this point. And understand this, like, NBA players have to give up their summers, which they love, to be in training camps and international competition and traveling, then expected to show just about right away up to their own training camp to get their NBA season started. Just the way it is. And that's hour number 1 down with hour number 2 up next. More hot topics on the way. Don't go anywhere.